Hello and welcome back to another episode of VideoGame O.R Clinic Duty, the series where we try to repair all your gaming emergencies, where today's emergency is this Xbox original controller. First off, it looks okay. However, when you take a closer look at this cable section here, we can see there's a bit of a problem. So what we're going to do is attempt to repair this damage that the controller received and hopefully bring this thing back to life, because obviously if there are only two cables that your Xbox are being held together with, you're probably not going to get very far. So without any further introduction, let's move on to the procedure. Now, how I'm thinking we're going to achieve this repair is it looks like the shroud is completely cut away from these cables. So we'll probably try to cut this back a little bit, expose a little more of the wire, and then it looks like this strain relief is removable. So we'll probably try to slide that up, and then we can repair the cables here, put a piece of heat shrink tubing over it, and then slide the strain relief back up, and then we should be, in theory, all good to go. But in order to do that, the first thing we will need to do is remove this back plate, and to do that we just need a Phillips head screwdriver, but not this bit. So a little bit of background on this controller and how I came into possession of it. So I was actually at a local game store recently, and this game store has a bin where basically they're for parts consoles. So, you know, whether they seem to be broken or actually broken or whatnot, they just kind of go in there and you can get them at a discounted rate. And so I'm looking in there primarily for an Xbox 360 fat faceplate, and I see this controller sitting there and I'm like, well, this is just an Xbox S controller. I mean, it looks to be in good condition, a little dirty, but you know, a good condition. And then I notice this little issue here with the cables. How do I want to do this? Do I want to just cut in there? I think we'll just cut that away instead of trying to be super clean and peel the sticker off. All right, now we have all of the screws out, so we should be able to take this back plate off. And now we have access to our PCB. Now, the thing that I always wondered about these controllers is how do people manage to get hair in there? Like, I don't even know if that shows up on camera, but there's hair in here. And it's like, how? How did you get it in here? This thing's completely closed. Obviously, it wasn't open if we had to cut the label, but I guess we'll be working on it like this. In order to detach these cables from here, it looks like you'd have to do some desoldering, which I'm not feeling right now. So how are we gonna... We could cut this strain relief like down the middle just so we can get access to the cable. No, we'll definitely cut this strain relief off of here. I don't think we can easily pull it off. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll just take this razor and cut the strain relief right down the middle. And hopefully we don't cut too deep into it where we end up cutting off some of the cable, because then we're going to end up in a similar predicament as we're in right now. It's like it's held in with some sort of glue, or it's almost like the cable has become fused to the piece. All right, there we go. Strain relief is off, and we can get a good look at this cross section of cable. Let's go ahead and try removing this rubber shroud just so we can fan out some of this cabling. So what I'm looking at is, I believe this outer wire is our grounding cable, and then we have our 5-volt ground data signal and clock pulses. So we will need to jumper this sort of mesh or this cable to the mesh on the controller. So how are we going to do this? Let me just grab my multimeter real quick, just so that we can confirm that one of these black cables are actually connecting to this wire mesh on the outside, because if that's the case, that would be either grounding for shielding, or I'm not too sure. So we'll just do a quick continuity check. Okay, so it looks like there's just two grounds, because this mesh and these two black wires are both connected to one another. So I don't think we need to worry too much about trying to repair the metal sheathing that goes over this controller, so that's a plus. So we can just focus on soldering these wires back together. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so for this, I actually pulled the main controller board out so that it's a little easier to work on, and grabbed all of our replacement wires and some snips and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and start by cutting off the tips of these frayed wires. And then we'll come in with our wire strippers and get this green one. Okay. And then we will do the same thing to the set on this side. Now, I'm actually quite perplexed as to how damage like this could have occurred, because it didn't look like it was a dog or something that chewed through this cable, and it didn't look like it was burned. That's very strange. Go ahead and leave a comment down below what you think could have caused this sort of damage in this controller, because I'm not really sure. And it's kind of like one of those unique scenarios that are not the most common thing in the world. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, as you saw, I cut this wire to length, and then we'll strip the ends, give it a little bit of a twisty on the tip so that we can add a little bit of solder. And then I think we'll do green first, so we'll go ahead and tin both ends of the green wire, and then hopefully separate everything so that we're not soldering to something we don't want to. All right, and then we can take our black wire, get a little bit of solder on the iron, and then attach it to our green one. And with that attached, we'll give it 2 pieces of heat shrink tubing. And then we will grab our lighter, give it a little bit of flammage. There we go. Then we'll grab our second piece for the other end. And then we shall attach this to our other end of green. Give it a little bit of heat. And that is one of our wires repaired. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through repairing these other 2, and then we will cut back after it's done so then we can figure out how we're going to wrap this whole thing up. Okay, so we now have our jumpers added in to the controller wire here, and the next order of business is going to be to try to contain them. So I think our best bet will just be to kind of nestle our wires in there, and then we'll grab a little bit of electrical tape and run it from this end over to that end. And I guess we'll start from probably this. No, let's start from this end. Okay, so it's very important that we cover almost all of this, because this like metal mesh here is conductive and we don't want it to short anything out on the board. And we'll definitely want to put our strain relief probably in this area here, just so that we don't have to worry about our cable job getting too much tension put on it. Now we got that all wrapped up, we'll go ahead and we'll grab our strain relief, just double check which way it is supposed to go in there. Okay, so we'll add it to, I say, about right here. Seems good. Just slot it back on there, hopefully. Come on, get on there. Yeah, there we go. All right. I'm not too concerned about taping this or gluing it or anything, because this strain relief is going to get held in place right here with this little like U-hook. So that should put enough pressure on it to keep the pieces together, and we don't have to worry about, you know, it coming apart. So we'll go ahead and we'll grab our front shell. We'll slot our thumbsticks or our main PCB back into place. We'll go ahead and we'll grab our strain relief and kind of just tuck it or route our cables like so, just so we can get it in there. Really push that together so we can get it in the clip. And there we go. That is a patch job. So we'll go ahead and we'll probably blow this out just to make sure that we don't have any metal fibers lingering on the board. And then we can go ahead and put the back shell back on here and then give this thing a test. Okay, so we'll go ahead and quickly blow out this controller just to get rid of any loose fibers from that little metal shielding that might be chilling in there. Now, again, I don't think that that should cause any issue because the metal shielding is grounding, and these two grounding cables or grounding wires are seemingly connected to the shielding and one of the ground cables, so I'm not too worried about that. But then again, if you are going to try to do something like this at home, you know, do so at your own risk. I'm not a professional when it comes to these repairs, but I do like to say that I'm pretty good at it. So, all right, let's go ahead and throw the back shell back on here, and everything is clicking into place. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about cleaning this controller today. I think we could save that for another video, because this thing is kind of grimy and gross, but you know, for the sake of keeping things concise here, let's just focus on getting functionality back, hopefully, and then we can worry about the neatness of it another day. And there we go. Okay, so this controller is now put together. The cable's obviously going to be slightly shorter than it was to start with because we had to push this strain relief up. But yeah, I mean, so far it looks like it's okay. The last thing we need to do is give this a test. So we'll go ahead and we'll grab an Xbox and plug it in and see if this indeed is registering on the console. All right, so now that we're over at our lovely Xbox, we can go ahead and give this controller a test. Now, as you can see, this is the one that I did the repair job on, as our tension cable or cable tensioner is a lot shorter on this one. However, it did not come with the breakaway cable to actually plug it into the console. So I grabbed one from another controller, so we can go ahead and just plug this thing in to our console and turn it on and see if our little repair job ended up fixing this controller. I'm pretty certain that we should be up and rolling now. Worst case scenario, we kill the port on that on the console, but all right, we're at the clock screen. Let's see if we can press A. A does work. All right, thumbstick up and down works. Up and down works on the D-pad as well. I don't know if B actually does anything here. Yep, there we go. There's B. X, I'm not sure of. So, you know, we can't test all the button functionality on the title screen. So I actually have a copy of GoldenEye Rogue Agent that I found at a Goodwill. So let's make this a double combo and see if A, this game works, and then B, if this controller works in the game. Well, as you can see from the beautiful blue screen we have here, our copy of GoldenEye Rogue Agent does not appear to be working. So we'll go ahead and eject that. We'll probably have to get this disc resurfaced a little bit because, yeah, it is a little scratched to hell. We'll see if that fixes it. So in the meantime, we can test it out with a copy of From Russia with Love. That apparently I picked this one up at a Half Price Books for $3.99. This is actually a really fun game too, by the way, so $3.99 is not bad at all. I would definitely recommend that if you guys have not tried this, you should totally pick up a copy and test it out. So it looks like our controller is fully functional, so I'd chalk this repair up as being a complete success. So if you enjoyed, consider dropping a like and making that subscribe button glow so as to not miss any future content. And if you have any questions or remarks for a repair you're trying to do, be sure to leave a comment or join our official Discord server where we'd love to hear about it. Link in the description in case you're interested in stopping by. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.